Well, hello. Kirsten Liebelt, jump on in. How are you doing? It's Friday night and I have officially moved. That's like the exciting part of life because, you know what it's like when you're moving. It's just crazy pants. So welcome in, you guys. I want to talk about insulin resistance like I always do. And let's talk about the organ that is helping you metabolize fat, because I know everybody actually wants that. Listen, if you guys are on the replay, put replay in the comments. Will you do that for me? And tell me where you're coming in from, because I really, really like that a lot. That's so much fun to see where everybody's coming in from. And what else do I want you to do? I think that's probably it. But tonight I want to talk about insulin resistance and see like what we can gather. Houston, Texas. Awesome. Houston, that's wonderful. Very, very good. I am in Minnesota. So if you didn't know that, I'm in Minnesota. And so basically, you know what, tonight I wanted to Indiana. Oh, nice. That's getting even closer to me. I can see. That's fantastic. Ontario, Canada. Love my Canadian peeps. That's wonderful. I love that very, very much. I love that. I love that I can connect with Canadian people as well. That makes me very, very happy. I mean, since y'all are just north of me anyway, so why not, right? That's very, very cool. Oman. Where's that? Jordan. Are you seriously from Jordan? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so cool. I mean, I normally know that like I have people from, the people jump on from all over. It's kind of crazy, Australia. And I know that in the Facebook group, and by the way, there's a women's Facebook group on insulin resistance that I do. And so people are in there from like Belgium and Australia and New Zealand and trying to remember South Africa, I think. I'm not sure on that one. But anyway, so fun. So anyway, Manila shut the front door. That is crazy. Oh man, this is so fun. This is very, very cool. Well, so my name is Kirsten Liebelt, and I was raised by an insulin-dependent type 2 dad who was doing injections twice a day in his belly. And that's literally all I knew. Like, I didn't know that that was anything, whatever. And I always was just very much taught that, type 2 is genetic and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just the way that it is, all this stuff. And, as I have now done a lot of research, I am not a doctor, however, but as I've done a lot of research and then I went on my own journey, I found out that that is not necessarily true. Like at all. I mean, sure, there can be a predisposition, so to speak, whatever, but for the most part, it really does have to do with diet related. It's a diet related disease. And, for myself, I started insulin resistance in my 20s. I was gestational diabetic with my first baby. I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And I didn't even understand. I knew nothing. Like, poster child of knowing absolutely nothing. I didn't know that it made me 7 times more likely to be type 2 diabetic in my life. I didn't know that insulin was a hormone. I didn't know insulin resistance was even a terminology that existed. I didn't know that you could reverse it. I didn't know anything. I just continued on my little Italian way of being a sugar addict and living my life where I raised my kids in my 30s, everything white flour, white sugar, everything. I cooked from scratch. So, Goldie, thank you so much for following. And if everybody else already did, and I missed your name, I apologize. Thank you so much for following. I so appreciate it. And if you ever think that this is of value, share it out so we can get, information out into the universe, right? But anyway, and so I just went on my merry little way. And I really did think that I was doing okay because, like I said, I was cooking a lot from scratch. I wasn't doing a lot of processed food in terms of like, I didn't have a pantry full of boxes and all that good stuff. But basically, I really did not hold myself accountable in any way, shape, or form. Maybe that's the way that I want to say that. So I get into my 40s and my mom God bless her. She passed away last year at 94, but she did have dementia. And so this has really spurred me to talk about this even more, because insulin resistance leads to type 2 diabetes, and type 3 diabetes is insulin resistance of the brain. Okay, so that's another conversation. But anyway, so all of this kind of started happening. So I hit my 40s and I'm gaining weight, and my mom is like, Kirsten, do you ever even check your sugars? Do you even know where your sugars are at? Are you peeing all the time? Are you thirsty all the time? And she's asking me all the things. And that is how I eventually did do something. And I do talk about that all the time. I talk about the trio, which are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. That's great. So, and if you're on Facebook, you can put trio in the comments and I will get back to you after I'm done. You guys, I can't do that with because it'll go away. However, you would have to text it to the number on my profile or put it in my DMs. Anyway, so moving along from that, basically what happened was I started with supplementation, never taking supplements before, like other than like weight loss, meaning like the stuff that got banned off the shelf in the early 2000s. And I found out with my girlfriend that the name of it was Metabolife. I couldn't remember the name. That's, if you have a flashback of that being on a shelf, they banned it because of the ephedra. Anyway, moving right along. And so I just didn't take supplements. I didn't do anything, but I just wanted to pacify my mom. It worked for me, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know why. I had to figure out why it worked for me. But then I actually went and I worked like with some local people too. And I'm like, okay, like, why don't you try this and see whatever, try these supplements and see if they work for you. And then they did. And then I got bold enough to do it online. So now I can talk about them online. And that is what I do a lot of. However, as an Italian girl, I did need to figure out my food. Well, as anybody does, anybody who's insulin resistant, if you can't lose weight and you're insulin resistant, I'm going to promise you that insulin being a hormone is a key to weight loss. And women, we don't know this. Nobody's telling us this, right? Well, maybe we are now a little more informed because of social media, but basically insulin is a hormone. And when your insulin and or your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. And so I'm very convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They're insulin resistant. They do not know it. And this is why you're struggling and you're fighting against against your weight loss, or you're gaining weight. And so all the old things aren't working for you anymore. The counting of points, the living in a calorie deficit, all of these things. But I promise you, you can reverse it. You can turn it around. I'm not a doctor. I'm just an Italian chick who figured things out, but you can. And so now what I get to do is I have a Facebook group and I actually teach women how to use targeted supplementation and trade out your food ingredients. And that's a side note because now I want to jump into my topic of conversation tonight. But the side note is that the challenge, the free 5-day challenge, starts on Monday, May 6th. So if you go to, I'm trying to think, if you go to my name, my first and last name.com, there's a Facebook blue button and you can jump into the Facebook group there. Okay. Because I would love to see you in there. I do 5 days at the beginning of every month. And that way you can nail the month. You can nail it. And then we'll do it again so that you can nail it and you can be having building blocks attached to each other. Does that make sense? Like a train, so to speak. And by the end of the year, be in a completely different place. Okay. Anyway. So what I wanted to talk tonight about though is that there is an organ in your body that governs fat loss. And most people don't know that that's what it is. And most people don't even know that they can love that organ so much that they can make a difference in their world. And does anybody want to guess what the organ is? You may not. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Amman, the capital of Jordan, Oman, is a country bordering the UAE, Yemen, and Saudi. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Yep. So Amman, it was what my husband was thinking. Perfect. And you're saying Oman, which is a country bordering the United Arab Emirates, Yemen, and Saudi. Well, welcome. Welcome. That is so fun. Thank you for sharing that. I love that so, so much. I love it when people share where they're coming in from. Okay, very, very good. And again, if I've missed that you guys have started following me, I apologize. And I do recommend it on TikTok. I recommend that you follow because you'll lose me into the algorithm of the universe. You may not see me again for a year. And that's fine if that's what you, but I'm just saying, talking insulin resistance, if it's your jam, then stay connected. So the liver is actually the organ. The liver is the organ. Is it true there's bacteria that help stay skinny? Liver, you guessed it. Good job. I had somebody guess. Woohoo. Jacqueline, you thought you knew. You probably do. And you know what, Jacqueline, you are already connected to a lot of this because of the trio helping out the liver. So that's really, really good. Is it true there's a bacteria that helps you stay skinny? I don't think I know what that would be. But if you know, or if you think you've heard of it, let me know. I would love to know. So anyway, I wanted to give you some really helpful information here on the liver because I'm telling you, like the more we know, right? So most of the people that I end up getting connected to, or they get connected to me, it has to do with, it has to do with like, well, maybe you've had such a hard time losing weight and you've gone to the doctor and they just are not listening to you. They're not hearing you. And maybe you're being told, I've had people tell me, they've been very dismissed about their weight gain or their inability to lose weight. And they're just being told, listen, you must not be really paying attention to what you're eating. You must just really be eating more than you think you are. And that can be very discouraging and very like frustrating, right? Because you don't feel heard. Or I have people talk to me about how, listen, I could tell there was something off in my body and I kept going and they kept testing my glucose levels and my glucose levels were fine. But do you remember at the beginning of my story, I said my insulin resistance started in my 20s. Gestational diabetic with my first baby, hypoglycemic with my second baby, and I didn't do anything about it for 20 years. So for 20 years, my insulin is increasing, which is the insulin resistance, but insulin is a hormone. Blood glucose is another conversation, and they're usually only doing blood glucose tests. And that's what's really frustrating because you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Oh, until you're not. And guess what they're going to recommend for you? Or maybe you already know because they've already recommended to you. You learned from your dear friend, Kirsten. Jacqueline, you're awesome. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. That's wonderful. Thank you. They want to put you on meds because now your sugars are high. So let's talk about the liver, and then I will explain a little bit more about that and how insulin resistance looks in your body and why is there fat being stored when you are insulin resistant? A lot of people know that. Yep, MET. I'm not going to say the whole word, but MET. Mary, you are right. Okay, so basically, the liver plays an essential role in metabolizing fats, and I'm thinking that's what we want, right? Because it's responsible for various metabolic processes, including synthesizing, storing, and breaking down fats in the context of insulin resistance. Here's how the liver function is affected. Insulin resistance and excess glucose. Okay, so everything you eat turns into fuel. And the primary source of your body wanting to burn anything is it wants to burn sugar first. So if it's only ever burning sugar, guess what it never gets to? It never gets to the fat. How long did it take for my insulin to come down using the trio? That's a really good question. I don't think I have a clear answer on that. And I'm going to say the reason why is because this happened before I understood to have testing done to monitor what was happening. So I knew things from my appetite coming under control, my sugars, my sugar cravings going down, and my ability to actually calm my mind about food and be able to think enough to be able to trade out my ingredients. Because you want your mind to simmer down because the food noise with insulin resistance is really high. It's really high. Thank you, Martha, for following. I appreciate you. Thank you, Leandra. So that's what I would say. So Dimple SPDC 777, and I love your 777. That's fantastic. You know what? DM me. You can DM me and tell me that you want to know about the trio, okay? Because if you put it in here, it'll go away when this is done. So you can DM me though. I'd be more than happy to chat with you. So insulin resistance and excess glucose. In insulin resistance, cells become less responsive to insulin signals, particularly muscle, fat, and liver cells. As a result, glucose remains in the bloodstream instead of entering the cells for energy. So this is what keeps happening, and it does over time lead to high blood sugar levels. And to compensate, the pancreas secretes more insulin. It's like, I got to make more. I got to make more. I must not be making enough, because your pancreas, it's going to just keep doing its job. It's like, I just know I can do better. I know I can do better. And in the meantime, your cell is closed off and saying, pretty much no more. But then insulin is a fat storing hormone. So you want to turn this ship to a different direction so that you can stop storing fat and then begin to burn fat. That's the goal. So insulin also promotes fat storage by signaling the liver to convert excess glucose into fat for storage. When insulin levels, I mean, seriously, you guys, this is the hamster wheel right here. This is the hamster wheel. Convert excess glucose into fat for storage. When insulin levels are consistently high due to insulin resistance, this process is overactive. Woo, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Leading to increased fat accumulation in the liver. That's no fun, right? We don't want that, because that eventually can turn into, those thumbs are funny on Instagram, into fatty liver. And we don't want that, because that's reversible until it's not. And it's not when it becomes cirrhosis. We don't want that scarring. Due to insulin, this process is leading to increased fat accumulation in the liver, a condition known as fatty liver or hepatic steatosis. Okay. So the other thing would be inflammation and oxidative stress. This is what insulin resistance can trigger. And then there's this feedback loop that happens. Fatty liver disease exacerbates insulin resistance, creating a feedback loop. As fat accumulates in the liver, impairs liver function and contributes to insulin resistance, perpetuating the cycle of metabolic dysfunction. So it's all connected. Fatty liver, metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance. This is all very connected. And so we want to make sure that we're turning it back. And there are foods that you can eat that can really help your liver. And so let's get to that. Let's get to some of the things that can help you a little bit. So basically, these are the things that could help your liver. I think that if we could understand how to help our liver, we would just be like, don't you just want to be able to metabolize fat better? Thank you so much for following. Martha, I said thank you to Martha. La. Thank you so much for following. Yeah, you are welcome. Julie, good to see you, Julie. Very, very good. Okay, so staying really hydrated. So I know that, for myself, I do talk a lot about, Grandma, thank you for following. I talk a lot about eating, basically I am grain-free, sugar-free. And as an Italian girl, to be able to say that is like a little cray cray, right? People are like, what do you mean? Like, you're Italian. And the truth is, though, is that in order to stop what got me into the pickle to begin with, that I took a journey. I didn't do it overnight. And I'm still on my journey in terms of, like, I've gone from when I started targeted supplementation, I didn't understand that what was going to happen is when I was able to start to get my insulin and my sugars to come down, that I was going to be able to then lose weight, because if they're high, you can't lose weight. This is why this is so frustrating for so many of us. And we're just like, what the heck? Why is nothing working anymore? So when you can go into that direction and start to, turn things around like that, I did go from a 2X down to a large in my 50s. Post-cycle stopping. So that's kind of a big deal, right? But I'm still on my own weight loss journey, because I would like to lose a little bit more weight. But I mean, I'm happy, but I'm like, I think we all have our own goals, right? And my point in that is I had to assess the things that I was eating, and I started to go through a process of everything that I ate. I would ask myself, is this spiking my sugars? Because if it's spiking my sugars, meaning everything you eat is going to call on insulin no matter what. But sometimes it's going to call on just a little tiny bit of insulin. Sometimes it's going to call on a lot of insulin because you really rose high, and your pancreas is going to do a really good job, and it's going to go down, 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 right? It's going to try to make sure that your body is going to be able to use that glucose and get it into the cell. It's going to work really hard at it. And anyway, and I just know that I had to tweak and tweak and tweak to now where I am. I'm grain free and I'm sugar free. And this is what I teach in the Facebook group. And it's made all the difference in the world. So basically, it's a clean keto is basically what I do, but I don't do it for the same reasons that I don't do the fad keto, which is what a lot of people teach. I don't do the I do more of a Maria Emmert keto, which would be a high protein, moderate, really good fats. You know, the fats that your hormones need and love and thrive on. And then obviously very low carb, because again, once you're insulin resistant, it's just your path is different. You're not choosing from 12 different diets anymore. And the one that they give you from the American Association is total crap. It's really bad. If you want to stay on meds, that's all I'm saying. And I know this because of my father's history, ending in dialysis and gone at 63. My mother had renal cancer, and then she was told not to eat protein. And so she became a carbaholic. And then she ended up with type 2 diabetes, like in her 80s. So you can see that wasn't genetic, not at all. And then she ended up with dementia, type 3. So every place that I went, that she stayed in, and then over the last 6 years, my brother died in 2020. He was type 2. But for 2 years, he was in, he had some issues, like he had a stroke. And so he was in a lot of different facilities, type 2 in facilities, every kind of facility known to mankind, from an LTAC to a nursing home to group homes and emergency rooms and intensive cares and regular hospitals. And like, I could go on, right? Did it all. And the lack of help from the dietary side of things was shocking. Wouldn't you think that somebody who's insulin dependent should be given a better diet than I was? Like, what are you talking about? Why is this okay? Like, this really spurred me. There are certain things that have really spurred me to get online and start talking about what helped me, because I'm the only one in my family that avoided type 2. The only one. And there's a lot of type 2 in my Italian family, a lot of obesity in type 2. Anyway, so that's kind of where a lot of that all comes from with me. And that's why I know that statement about a certain diet. Yeah, it's bad. People need to know. If you go to the doctor and they tell you can have 150 carbs a day as a type 2 diabetic, which has happened to somebody that I know, leave. Get a different doctor. That's not okay. Anyway, and I'm just an Italian girl. I'm not a doctor. I get this. But I'm so frustrated with the bad information that keeps us on the treadmill of scripts. And then the answer is only given to us to have either, you can add a script or you can up the dosage of a script. That's not an okay answer when this is a diet-related disease. Okay, so staying really hydrated, because obviously your liver is your detoxing organ. It metabolizes your fat, but it also is detoxing your world. And so you want it to really be flushed out. And so for myself, I am definitely into electrolytes, because if I'm eating a ketogenic diet, I need to be getting all of my electrolytes. So you see, when you stop eating all of the processed foods, salt isn't your issue. Table salt is bad, but not salt in general. And if you're not eating processed foods, you're not getting, now you have to actually, you're on the other side of it. You have to replenish your salt and your magnesium and your potassium and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not getting anyway. So sugar-free electrolytes. And I probably use like, I've tried Element, LMNT. That's a good one. They actually have chocolate ones. Those are good, but they have other flavors. Liquid IV. Is that what it's called? Liquid IV. They have sugar-free ones. Those are pretty good. And then there's another one that I'm trying right now, and it's good. It's called, I don't know if I have one by me here on my counter. I don't know if I do. I don't think so. Salt, SALTT. And I just ordered that online. All of these you can get like anywhere. And again, sugar-free and just really good to have on hand so that you can be replenishing your electrolytes. And so drinking a lot of water, exercising, of course, is very helpful to promote blood circulation and overall liver health, because we're back on that liver conversation, right? Limit your alcohol intake. And did you know that 50 years ago, the only people that had fatty liver in our nation, and this is the United States, of course, were people who were alcoholics. They were the ones that had fatty liver disease. And this is another reason why I feel very compelled to get on and share the things that I share. Now it's extremely common and it's in our children. So that should also tell you that this is diet related and you can actually change your diet and you can get out of some stuff. How's the new apartment in the knee? Okay, Julie, let me tell you. Loving my new place. Loving, loving, loving. So for people who don't know, we're in the middle of real estate in general. Like I was taking care of my mom with her dementia. And then we needed to move from where we were taking care of her, because the lady was gracious in renting to us to be able to accommodate, because we had to sell our real estate to do it. And it was perfect for her. And then she said, well, okay, now that your mom is gone, I would like to sell. So we ended up in an apartment. We're totally fine. Brand new. They're beautiful. It's great. But we don't want to buy real estate yet. The inventory in Minnesota, and I'm sure like everywhere else, is so low. It's just so low. The pickings are slim. So we moved to another apartment with even more fun amenities. So anyway, thank you for asking, Julie. I really do. In fact, my husband just went down to check out the pool because they just got done cleaning it. Anyway, you're so funny. And my knee. Oh, you guys. Okay. So, this actually does fit in with the whole liver conversation. So this is not a total side note, but you see too many people eating a 3-dip banana split. Yes, that would be bad. That's really funny. So I rammed my knee bad when I was moving. Like, oh God. I stepped over a bucket and I came right into the trim of my bathroom, like just as full force on, literally as my leg is coming, it was literally the top of my knee, almost my thigh, but it wasn't. It was just dead center on to the top of my knee. And I literally inside went, it kind of took my breath away. And I was like, no, I can't have this. I can't do this. Like, I'm moving. So I'm like, you are healed in Jesus' name. You are healed in Jesus' name. Like, no, no, no. So I go to the bathroom and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So what Julie's asking about is I share, when I talk about supplementation, I have a turmeric that is actually 45 times more absorbable than a standard turmeric. Turmeric, interestingly enough, is not very absorbable into your system, and most people don't know that. And so I upped my turmeric immediately, and I'm telling you, I am shocked. I'm stunned. I didn't take one ibuprofen. I didn't take one acetaminophen, Tylenol, nothing. I had it in my cupboard and I thought about it. I really, really thought about it. And I'm like, oh no, nope, I'm going to ride this out. And so anyway, so I was just stunned. And that's what she's asking about. Phenomenal. Oh my gosh. So it's perfect. Like, I have no stiffness, no pain, no ache, no nothing. Anyway, amazing. Okay. So, It's amazing it didn't break it. The knee or the trim, Julie? Just kidding. It was nasty. It was a nasty bonk. Okay. So I think I actually, let me see here. I want to see what I've got for wrap up information. Okay, so limit your alcohol intake because again, back to alcoholism and fatty liver. Get enough sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. You have it's so that your liver is allowed to detoxify and regenerate. And also, too, girls, you have to fix your sleep. And it's a tough one for a lot of people. I'm in this conversation a lot with people. Go out and find yourself a really good magnesium glycinate. I recommend a blend. Do I have my magnesium here? I bought mine off of Amazon. I don't have it here. Um, a magnesium glycinate blend is what I like for sleep. It has L-theanine in it. That's an amino that's really calming. It actually has a little citrate in it, magnesium citrate, and that helps you with regularity. So if you find that that's not a good journey for you all the time, a little citrate is good, not too much, right? Um, and it's a good blend, right? So use something like that. And then if you have to fill in with other things, maybe you have to fill in with other things. I fill in with my line has like an herbal blend. It's kind of stinky, but it really works for me. And I take that at night with my magnesium if I need to have that extra boost. I don't always need it, but you have to fix your sleep because why? Because the next day your insulin resistance is up if you don't get sleep. Your cortisol is up. So it's really important. And I know we have kind of a hustle culture a lot where we really just, we just think, oh, well, this must be normal. This is what it's like to get old, or I've got too much work to do, or, whatever. And we think it's just okay. But we need to like be able to detoxify our liver and we need to be able to actually have our bodies functioning. And that's a big piece of the puzzle. Manage your stress. And I know this is a tough one. I have a lot of customers that are labor and delivery nurses or nurses in general. And I'll tell you, they have a lot of stress in their life. And if that's you, figuring out how to manage your stress so that you can get your cortisol down. Because guess what? Guess what your belly fat is? That would be called insulin hormone, cortisol hormone. Like it's just the same conversation all the time, right? And then avoid toxins. That's a big one. And I know that it's almost impossible unless you go and live out in the middle of nowhere. And I don't even know where nowhere would be, to be really honest. But avoiding toxins is very challenging, but it can harm your liver. Pesticides, household, all of your household in cleaners, and we microwave in plastic. We buy like pesticide laden berries and greens and all of that stuff, and that's another part of the piece of the puzzle is eating liver friendly foods. And so when it talks about that, this is a really big conversation, one for another live. Incorporate foods that support liver health, such as garlic and leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, etc. So when you eat your leafy greens, you don't want them to be laden with pesticides because they're fragile. They're fragile. So you also then don't want your leafy greens or your herbs in your supplements to have been sprayed with pesticides and then condensed into these little poisonous pills. Like, why would you do that, right? So you want supplements that are coming from organic farms, etc. And it's actually a much cheaper way. It's a much more cost-effective way to eat greens that are organic. To be perfectly honest, it's like, that's a really good way to do it. But I'm just saying, like, eat your leafy greens because that's how your liver can create the bile that you need to break down your food so that you can be functioning, right? And even with people especially with people that don't have a gallbladder anymore, especially because then you just need a little extra help and a little extra backup, don't you? And so anyway, so eating those leafy greens are so important. Anyway, what have I missed here? Oh, hold on. I think you're asking if turmeric is absorbable with coconut oil, if it's more absorbable. I don't think I know the answer to that. Puzza in Italian means stink, pronounced puzza, puzza, una puzza. Are you serious, Julie? That's hilarious. It is stinky herbs. L'erba, l'erba pazza, stinky herbs. Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. Thank you for telling me that. My son was actually learning Italian this last year, so I wonder if he would know that. Pazza. Am I saying that right, Julie? Give me a thumbs up if I'm saying puzza right. Because I know, isn't Potsy crazy or something? Anyway, that's really funny. That is crazy. So I say all of that just to say that, when I talk a lot about how I ramped up um, my own ability to puzza. Okay, puzza. Very good. Lerda, lerba, lerba puzza. Very good. Stinky herbs. I need to remember that, Julie, because I do talk about my stinky herbs a lot. I did not trade out my foods first. I started with supplements first, and then I did my food ingredients. And I do teach both in the Facebook group. This challenge is starting on May 6th. And so if you want to jump into the Facebook group, I highly recommend it. For people who are on the talk, if you click on my face up here, and then it will come up as a banner here, and you can click on it again, it'll take you to my page. And on my page, you will see my link, and you can find the Facebook blue button. On Instagram, it's there also. There's a whatever. And then if you are on Facebook or YouTube, you can put group in the comments, and I will give you that information. But the information that I want people to really get about this happens to be really about the trio. Now, I didn't know anything about supplementation at all, but what I do know now is that the testimonies are crazy pants. They're really amazing. And this has been over a decade for me now, but the testimonies that I've posted are probably mostly since the beginning of the year. So they are fresh, and they are ones that are coming to me, not from a corporation. And I feel like that's really important just to kind of let you know. And so she's asking about berberine. And I'll tell you, so I actually have never taken berberine, but that's because I didn't know about it. Like, berberine wasn't a buzzword 10 years ago. And so I didn't know anything. I didn't know nothing about nothing. So I wouldn't have paid attention anyway, I'm sure. And I'm 59 now, no meds, no type 2, never will. I know exactly how this happens, so I'm not confused about it. And but I have had one person so she found out that she was type 2 3 years ago. And the reason why she found out she was type 2 is because she had a stroke. And her A1C was 13, and she didn't know. So she finds out, oh, did it make you sick? Berberine made you sick? Yeah, see now, and I don't know anything about that. You couldn't take berberine either, Julie. Interesting. That's interesting. 2 people. Okay. So she finds this out, and she works with her docs and with scripts, and she brings things down to, like, I think about a 6.9, something like that. But she cannot budge 1 pound. Not 1 pound. She's on berberine. She was on inositol. And last September, she thought, okay, fine. Hail Mary, she's going to try the trio, which again are the 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And she starts it in September, and in 2.5 months, not only did her morning sugars, which are the hardest ones, that's called dawn phenomenon, when your sugars are high and you haven't eaten yet, they go down 30 points, and she loses 14 pounds in 2.5 months. Now you have to understand, she had been trying for 3 years, and she was on berberine and inositol. So I do feel like there are some answers within the trio that are even a step above. That's how I'm going to say it. It has just been my experience and the testimonies that I have. And if you need to see your own testimonies, please do. Instagram, you have the best chance of that, because at the top of my page, there's actually a highlight bubble. So you could just scroll and just see testimonies of the trio, and then DM me. Like, I'm available. This is what I do. I'm available. Chat with me. I would love to know. So yeah. And I wonder what made you sick about that, Leandra. I don't know. That's super interesting. I don't know. It comes in different milligrams. Okay. So maybe she was taking too high. Oh, Julie. So you're saying you took yours back. I see. You can't, Leonora, in Australia. Oh, okay. So hold on. Mary, you're the Canadian. I love Canadian people. Yes, yes, yes. So I have a Canadian link for you, Mary. I do. So if you go to hop back over, well, it's up to you. You don't have to, but if you want to hop back over to Instagram, on my profile, there is a link. And on that link, um, you'll see when you look at the second, I think it's the third button. The second button is actually the testimonials. I put them on a reel. But anyway, the third one has the trio, and just pay attention to what those three products, write down the names of those three products, and then go in through the Canadian link. And you can look at it that way. I do have Canadian customers. Yeah, that's very, very exciting, very fun. And then Australia, oh, Leonora, I'm so sorry. I have had a lot of connection to Australians, and it's so interesting to me because there is a what was the name of the documentary? Yes, you're welcome, Mary. There was a documentary that they did. That sugar film. That sugar film, and it was on Prime at one point, and they're talking about um is it indigenous tribes in Australia? And they were talking about the westernization of food and processed goods into the grocery store, and how type 2 diabetes just went off the rails, and how they had to then like scale back the bad of the food and like figure it out. And so I feel like that's why I end up connecting a lot with people from Australia, because I do think that there are, I know that I used to think that it was only the standard American diet, and it's not. It's not. And it is worldwide. But I personally, right now, I am able to do business in the United States, Canada, and the Dominican Republic. So FYI. And you know what the deal is this. Even if I could do Australia, the Australian government is not allowing certain ingredients. So even though my company is in your country, those supplements do not exist in your country. So I'm sorry. I know. It bums me out. I have somebody, I'm in conversation with somebody from Dubai quite a bit, because she's like, just ship me some. And I'm like, that's exporting illegally. I can't do that. So I won't, obviously I won't compromise my business, my license. So anyway, their supplements in their chemist shops are amazing in Australia. Okay, well then why can't they get certain ingredients, Julie? I would love to know that. I would love to know that. Super interesting. But anyway, but I do want people to know that if you want information on the trio, just message me. If you need to get a handle on your weight before summer, and you think it's because of maybe being insulin resistance that you've been on a hamster wheel, you need that key to get unlocked. Because what happens is when insulin is supposed to go into your cell and the cell says no, the key is broken. It can't get in. So that's why your inflammation is high. That's why you're storing more fat, and you can't figure it out. So get into the Facebook group. Join me in the challenge next week. I'll go live 5 days in a row. I'll talk about ingredient trade outs in my pantry and my fridge and supplements and a recipe, and we'll do the things so that you can don't take on the rest of your life. Just take on the month of May. How about if you just take on a month of May? So right now people are like grabbing the trio and they're getting set up for the challenge. It's not a requirement. But what if you set yourself up for success? All of the products have a 6-month guarantee. Who does a 6-month guarantee? I hear people say all the time, we have a 30-day unconditional money back on our supplements. And I'm like, 30 days? You can't even know if something's going to work in 30 days, especially when you're talking about insulin resistance. This is a journey. You need to ask yourself, where are you going to be by the end of 2024? Like, you have to heal something. You're healing something. You're not fixing your weight for the Saturday dance like in high school. You're not doing that. You're healing, you're bringing down your insulin and your sugars so that you actually can finally lose weight. Because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. And if you go undetected or if you go not taking care of your insulin resistance, it turns into type 2 or gout in the feet, PCOS, fatty liver is connected, dementia. It's a lot of really bad results. My dad's were heart attacks and bypass and pacemakers and dialysis and throwing up, and his quality of life went like this. So let's turn that back around, right? Let's turn it around so that you can actually take back your body so that you can create more memories. Let's do that. That is what would make me very, very happy. So anyway, all right. They are strict. Yeah, I know. They are strict. And there are a lot of countries that really are. So, but anyway. So Facebook, you guys can always put trio in the comments and I will answer you. You can put group in the comments and I will get you the link to the group. And everybody else, like TikTok, you have to go up to my face and then you have to go to my banner and click on me again. It'll take you to my page and you can see on my profile is my link. The trio is on there. The Facebook blue button is there, or you can text that number trio and get information. Text the number and you can get that. And then Instagram, basically DM me, or when I post when I post the video, you can come back and comment on the video, or you can DM me. And you are right. Hormones make a difference in weight loss. Insulin is a hormone. We have to get your insulin down. We have to get your cortisol down. And when we talk about the liver, like we did tonight, one of the pieces of the trio does exactly that. It helps your liver. Gal, if you could love your liver every single day, you just would be so amazed at what it was created to do for your body, governing your blood glucose, governing your hormones, helping use your insulin better, and metabolizing what you want it to metabolize the most, which is your fat. Hello, we all need to know that. There's your best tip for the whole weekend. All right. Have a really good night, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining. Thanks for following. And TikTok, if you want to follow before I jump off, and otherwise I'll be lost into the oblivion of the algorithm forever. All right. See you guys later. Have a good night. Bye, movie mama. Good to see you. I'm so glad you jumped on. All right. Let's see if I can end this quick. Like usually I touch it and then it doesn't end. So we'll see.